Ooh, what's happening, man? What's happening, man? Man? uh, Interesting last couple few days. Very polarizing. And I'm speaking personally, which, macro, micro. That doesn't just. You can say personally, but outside stimulus and, you know, interferences, both positive and negative, uh, you know, affect that as well. So, all over the place. My brain is working a lot. It's doing a lot. I'm very happy with the level of contemplative thought that I'm at, and I'm really starting to catch a flow with what I want to do with my channel, and I'm starting to see the very beginnings of the building of a family, like familial bonds, a community, whatever you want to call it, and getting comfortable just talking the way that I talk and not worrying about how it presents or how it's perceived. Because if you have a question, just ask. If I say something that sounds foreign to you or that doesn't really make sense the way that I say it, or it rubs you the wrong way, ask. Say something. Don't immediately go to social media influenced aggression or anger. I think many things can be sorted out or clarified with conversation and communication. I think that's been a big frustration for me, and I've been listening. I always listen back to my videos, but you're always in a different headspace, so you hear things. They hit you differently when you hear certain things, and some of the stuff that I've put out, there's a lot of digression that moves into the realm of like aggression, and it's you don't know it because you're just seeing the video. But many times I'm coming off of a debate that devolved into goofiness, like just ignorance and closed-mindedness, or whatever it might have been, personal stuff. That's why I shared that personal video yesterday. To give you kind of a glimpse into why I can talk like that sometimes. I am a being, so I'm going through things as well, but I think that sometimes people may not forget that, but not expect that to bleed into your art. And though much of what I talk about can be seen as science based or philosophical or what have you, it is also art. It's art. I'm not putting. I don't do too many notes. I'm speaking to you as I would if we were sitting in the same room, drinking coffee, or sharing each other's space and time. Fuck time, energy, sharing each other's space and energy. I think what I'm going to end up talking about later is my perspective on one of the reasons why I believe so passionately that this is a form of a simulation. And I always like to clarify that does not mean the fucking Matrix movie or, Ready Player One or Gamer or any of those movies that have presented a theory or a version of a Matrix. It's much more complex than that. When you say simulation, that can go into realms of, mentality, biological, like, this feels like a terrarium, very manipulative and malleable by those that have more capability and control over said terrarium. There's a lot of mystery involved. There's a lot of direction, miseducation, misleading. all of these things come together to give the feeling of a simulation. Like, this doesn't feel right, so it's not. It doesn't feel natural, so it's not. I have phantom memories of better, times, better, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's going 1,000, 1,000 miles a minute. Better, overall, quality, for lack of the word that I'm trying to remember. I have faint and phantom, but returning memories of, and when I say memories, I don't mean what your idea of a memory is. It's not like a picture flashes in my head and I'm, some Atlantean, god or anything like that. Not to say that that's not possible, but I feel like some people posture themselves as having these very literal memories of being deities and extra dimensional beings and all kinds of stuff. And I'm not saying that those things aren't true for them or valid for them. Just I'm trying to be as authentic as possible with the things I say. So essentially, I'm not gonna say a thing. I'm not gonna stretch a thing because I see other people saying that they feel those things. Like, the memory that's coming back to me is mostly feeling. It's emotional. It's not pictures. I don't see anything. I don't remember much. I have been shown a couple things in dreams that felt, I don't know if I would even call them memories. I spoke about one of them in one of my dream videos. It wasn't the precognition one. I made the clarification. It was the other one where I felt like I was on some kind of mission. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know about dreams, it'd be cool if you could watch that and share some input, or decoding, give your perspective on it. But I think later I'm going to end up talking about, like, because it feels like that, because it feels like a simulation, because it feels like a negative experience. It is. Doesn't just feel like, it is a negative experience. If you're real with yourself, regardless to how good you have it or how good your experience is, you as a being sharing this place with other people should be able to acknowledge the many negative experiences, pain, fear, neglect, all these things that go into this realm. And it's by design. Those are not opinions. Those are facts. Those are facts. It's going to be more of a philosophical one. I did a more kind of like, I didn't go into specifics of science, but I talked about some more scientific stuff last night, just kind of giving some, sharing some stuff that I've been looking into for a significant amount of time. Smart dust, geoengineering type stuff, transhumanism type stuff, things that are being imposed on you and me. But this one's going to be more like philosophical, talking about the realities of why I view this as a simulation, and how, courageous you have to be to keep going, and to not give up in one way or another. Not just speaking in terms of hurting oneself, but like really trying to find balance in recognizing, like, hey, something's wrong with this place, but trying to do your best to, like, do what you're here for and experience it and try to shape it into something that feels better. It's, I feel like a slow and steady progression in creating a community of people that are not just looking for a 10-minute summation of something that may not even be consequential for what the fuck, reality or life is, but I am seeing that, and it's encouraging. And because I was starting to tell myself, bro, you got to start, like, you got to find a framework. You're digressing too much. You're sharing too much not intended perspective in these videos. But that's the kind of stuff I like to watch. I like thought provoking shit. I like stuff where, 1 second I'm getting some philosophy vibes, and the next second there's some, scientific thought, and so on and so on. So I'm gonna do that, and hopefully it resonates with people. I like that. I like the conversations that it sparks. One, contribution is talking about the scientific thing that was, touched on at this mark, and then another thing's like commenting on philosophy. Like, that's cool to me. It makes it to where you can have conversations about a lot of different shit off of one, work. So I'm still kind of building out what I want to talk about, like the loose points I'm gonna try to hit. As always, I invite, beings that are comfortable speaking publicly and that are not trying to, like, pull a spotlight just on themselves to, come kick it, fall through. If you want to have a conversation or a debate, or whatever. If you've seen a video that kind of goes in line with what I'm talking about in this live stream, come kick it. Or even if you just want to watch, come kick it. But it is gonna be kind of more philosophical, I think. And as I just said, though, if I say something that leads me to talk about science stuff for a minute, or anything, I'm going to do that. And hopefully more multifaceted minds continue to find this haven that I'm trying to build. To be honest, it's starting off as like a digital platform, but I do hope to create like a community of familial bond with other beings that think in the same, lanes that I do. I think that's important to a lot of us. It's ingrained. It's, just ingrained. So, gonna talk about the courageousness that we all have in existing and not rejecting this shit completely, because it's the more that moments progress, the more that it feels like, what, this fucking sucks, this is lame, and even with beings that are more on the spiritual side and philosophical side and all those things, where the norm is to kind of, it seems like, at least with the larger groups, to ignore negative, quote, negative feeling emotions or thoughts, or what have you. Like, that's not healthy. Neither thing is healthy. It's not healthy to ignore all negative, quote, emotions or thoughts, and it's definitely not healthy to just beat yourself down and be quote, negative all the time. That's why venting is important. That's why some people need to rant. It's all individuality. I think that's a big part of why we're like the way we are now. I won't say it's why we're here, because I still very much feel like this has been done to us intentionally, and still is being managed intentionally. But I think that we have collectively come up with this transmutation of, okay, so this has happened, and we can't really remember what has happened, or why we have this feeling that we're greater than what we are being led to believe. So why don't we just learn from it? Why don't we just experience it to the best that we can, follow intuition, follow discernment, interact with each other, and try not to let the said managerial energy like manipulate us to where we're all just fighting and arguing all the time. Live and let live when necessary. Allow, you know, what you believe to be positive influence in, and expel what you believe to be negative influence immediately, you know. A lot of these things for me seem and sound like common sense, but like common sense is to me another, almost, not always, because common sense, it is a thing, but like with a lot of these notions and a lot of these things, it's like not common, because we all have different experiences. We all were brought up and trained and indoctrinated in different ways, some positive, some not positive. So we're supposed to be learning from each other, not becoming the exact same cookie cutter being, but like creating the best version of ourselves through interaction, through experience with each other. Sometimes it's important to, you know, take time for yourself. There's no limit on how much time that needs to be. Sometimes I just have to say time so my sentences make sense. But in the end, I think that some people may need to just be alone all the time, and that's what they need. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think most of us, many of us at least, at some point need the feeling of family or community or, you know, friendship, and that's being kind of like systematically eaten up, stripped away from us by manipulations of this shit, you know, social media, manipulations in socio-political shit, all of it. Even the arena of debate is being, you know, kind of like sullied by these. A lot of it, I think, sometimes it's agents. You know, you don't think that agents would be involved in things that are not as heavy. Like, you think they'd be involved in like political shit or, you know, shaping of the minds of the masses and shit like that. But that can also be things that don't seem like it. I think there are people that come out as influencers or political pundits, and this sounds more, you know, obvious now that I flush it out. But seriously though, the arena of debate, specifically debate is supposed to be amicable and very based in, you know, provable to whatever degree possible, like facts, and you know, that's a thin line, but you know what I mean. But more so recently, you see these things where people can say things like cringe, or you know, they can tear the other person down personally, and those that are watching or taking in said debate are like, oh, you lost. And there's a lot wrong with that. It's very strange, very weird, and I don't think you can really learn as much from it other than the tactics that are being used by those agents. So gonna get into that, and just like I just did just now, it's gonna promote some thought, make some other thoughts come out, but I do want to talk about it because I feel like a lot of people are kind of beating themselves down for being different, or, you know, not loving this experience, when, you know, I think more so than anything, you kind of have to be off to love this experience. You can love parts of it and certain moments of it, but like, to say that this is all just great and positive and love and anything that you see as negative, you're just looking at it wrong. That's not helpful or accurate, you know? So I just want to, I guess it's philosophy that I'll be getting into, but it'll also be just kind of sharing my views on that, and maybe some personal experience on that, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to give a heads up. This isn't really a note so much for myself as it is for the cool family that I'm starting to see form. If you're not really interested in a philosophical one, you know, sit it out, see what I put up next, you know. But it would be cool to have you there. whether on, YouTube after I post, or if you want to do the Instagram. Yep.